younger you get started on some of the things I'm about to talk about, the more exponential and snowball they can have in your life. Okay, so my first year was all about finding stability financially in my life. Paid off all my student loans, got a brand new car because we shared one car that had no air conditioning. That whole summer I sold, and getting some savings, right? And stuff like that, paying for tuition. It was just like, let's just get afloat, and we plug the holes, like we're good. We stopped the bleeding.
No air conditioning?
Yeah, a whole summer.
You must have been pretty dedicated, man. That's tough.
Well, again, I was newly married with a mountain of debt.
Yeah.
And it's a commission-only job. So you better believe I was committed, right? And if you had told me that scrubbing toilets with my face could have paid what doing that would have done, I wasn't above anything is what I'm trying to say, right? I knew that there was a grind, there was a price to be paid. And there's pros and cons, but I'll tell you, having no air conditioning made me sell a lot more accounts.
Yep.
Facts, right?
That's awesome.
Literally, I mean, do you think I was chilling in my car?
No.
Hell no. No. That car was a freaking oven. I was out of there, right? There's one time, you remember Ray?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One time I drove out with him, and I was like, had a massive headache after lunch, and I was like, I'm gonna just like chill here for a sec, close my eyes for 15 minutes. And that was the first time all summer I had done anything like that. And we're probably in like July or something. And so it's like freaking hot and humid. This is in Houston, our first year. And he had like an old school BMW car at the time. And he's like, all right, cool. And he left, and I paid the price, man. I got locked in that car. And he was in back-to-back sales, callbacks after lunch, and did not answer his phone. I actually thought I was going to die in his car, and he was going to come to me later in the day, and my exhumed body was just going to be in there, because it had a weird tech where literally the car was locked from the inside. I'm serious. You're probably saying there's no way that's possible. Guys, I fought for my life for 45 minutes. I was locked in that car, okay? He had to come let me out, but I'm in like drenched in sweat. Anyways, so I spent my time dying in the heat of the car. Just get out and sell. Good grief. Air conditioning is probably the number one thing that keeps sales reps from producing what they could produce. Okay, so my first year was all about stability. Okay, my second year is when I bought my first property. Now, I'm going to walk you through some numbers, so stay with me. I bought that duplex for $210,000, okay? Which, if you know anything about the Provo market right now, that's like, will make you sick to your stomach, but in a good way, I guess. So I bought that property for $210,000, but guess what? I had to get creative to buy it. In a 1099 world, typically you need to show 2 years of getting paid on a 1099 before you qualify for a loan, right, with a lender. Well, I hadn't completed 2 years of taxes to be able to do that yet. So what did I do? I went and found somebody with money, and I said, I found a property. Here's all the numbers on it. Here's what the rent can be. If you buy this property in cash and I do a private loan with you, I'll pay you 6% as an interest rate on your money back to you, versus it was probably like 3.5% or something at the time from the bank. So I was like, I'll basically double the interest rate and guarantee that return. And in 1 year, I have to refinance, which means I pay you off all your money, and now I'm back in a private loan with the bank. I just need to get moving now, right? This is the power of urgency, okay? That makes sense so far? So this was a property that I bought with zero money down, right? $0 cash. Nothing out of pocket. And then immediately I had renters in it, okay? So you go all the way through until 2021, okay? And let's see, when it would have been like July, I think, okay? July. I sell this property. How much do you think I sold it for? Any ideas?
Triple.
Provo, I bet you sold it for close to $1 million.
It's a duplex,
duplex?
built in 1902. Thing was a piece.
I don't know.
We renovated some, but it was a piece.
And he gets 350.
700.
Sold that sucker for $850.
Wow.
Okay,
That's
in like
ridiculous.
3 days. Okay,
That's crazy.
I was literally out of the country when this thing sold. The whole thing went on the market and sold, and I wasn't even there. Okay, that's the ability of having the right asset at the right time. Huge leverage. Huge leverage. So I need someone to be my calculator guy. Someone tell me what that difference is.
640,000.
Okay, I'm gonna have a bunch more math, so stay ready.
Okay.
640K. All right. Now, let's say the average rent for what we were doing in accommodations in Provo is about, let's just say 1,000 to make it easy. Okay. Well, over a year, that's $12,000, right? And I had this for, I guess I had it for 8 total years. So 12,000 times 8 is what?
96.
Okay. 96,000. So that's money saved. Money saved in this sense, when it's one of those expenses, is money earned. Okay. And then when I sold, I owed, I think it was like 180 or something, still on the mortgage, which is a $30,000 difference, right? So what I owed went down by 30,000. Okay, so in straight cash out, over $500,000. In money saved or earned over that time, about $100,000. And then in my pay, or in my debt actually going down 30,000. Now I won't include that on this number because that's a double dip. Those essentially are the same thing. Okay. So what we will do though is add these numbers right here. 96,000 plus 640,000. What's that?
Oh.
736.
Okay. Now the cash flow I would, when I moved out of this property, because I was only living in it for about 3 years, and then I built the home out in Vineyard, I started to cash flow about $1,200 a month. We could add it all in, but it doesn't matter. You're getting the point, right? This is a really great investment, and there's many ways that you calculate an investment to make it really worth it. Okay, but I haven't even calculated years of actually earning on top of the mortgage and expenses being paid. I was earning around $1,200 a month. Okay, so I already had, you know, $25,000 basically a year in passive income from this, right? Well, I do all this, right? I do something called a 1031 exchange. Has anyone heard of that before?
Yeah.
Is that where your college study explained?
You're probably right. So when you sell a property like this, if this money hits your bank account, you have to pay capital gains, right? So you can do what's called a 1031 exchange, where this money after you sell does not go to you, it goes to an intermediary company, right? They hold it until I buy another property, and then they send that money off to that. So it never actually hits me. So I don't have to pay capital gains, okay? It's called a 1031 exchange. We'll do that a lot later in life, I'm sure. So in 2021, Daniel Jacinto had 2 properties he bought in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Gatlinburg's a crazy place. If you know anything about it, it's awesome, and good rental market for Airbnb. I flew out, I checked it out, decided I want to do it. That's what prompted me to sell the duplex, and I bought a cabin that was about $1 million, little less. Okay? That cabin nets me, not gross, nets me about $97,000 a year. after all expenses. Okay? And rental Airbnb income. I'm showing you all this to see. After my second year, I had the business confidence, the salesmanship, to approach somebody for a hard money loan. I got creative, I was ambitious, I found the deal, and I found the money, right? Instead of waiting a whole other year, that property probably would not have been there, right? But I found a good one, we made it happen. $0 out of pocket has then resulted in over $700,000 in my pocket that I have actually rolled into $1 million property. So now I have $100,000 in income every single year where I could just stop doing anything. I could just stop today. Stop working in any way, and I'm making $100,000 a year, right? And I haven't paid $1 for that. Not $1. So this is what you can do without money. But you're not going to do it without the confidence. You're not going to do it without the strategy. You're not going to do it without the game plan and the vision. These things won't occur to you. And time will just go by. And you'll waste 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. When suddenly this snowball's not really available to you in the same way it could be. Right? I bought that when I was like your age. I'm 32 and this happened last year. Guys, this is just one of my real estate situations I could take you through, right? But I have all kinds of properties and side businesses and things that I've done similar things in, right? Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to say one more thing on this and we'll close it, okay? When I roll this amount of money into this property, that means the amount that I owe is significantly lower, right, than normal because I rolled a ton of money into it. So it maximizes my return, obviously, right, because my debt I have to pay every month is lower. But now it means in this property, we'll just for simple math, say 600. If I only owe $400,000 on a property that's worth 600,000 or $1 million, what the heck? Worth $1 million, I have 600,000 in equity today, right? Does that make sense? It's the value of the home, but I only owe 400. So there's 600,000, that difference, that's equity. There's something called a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit, where I can now take this property to a credit union and they'll say, awesome, we love your property, looks good. We will give you 80% of your equity in cash today. What's 80% of 600,000? Someone help me.
45.
80% of 600,000 is what?
450, I think.
Oh, 450.
Or somewhere around there. 400.
I took different terms, so it's like just over 400 for me, but.
It's 480,000, yeah.
Okay, we'll just call it 450, okay? I can have that set up as a bank account with a credit or with a literal debit card. It's cash, and I now have $500,000 that I can spend at any moment in my life. But what I actually do, what do you think I actually do with that money?
Invest.
That's it.
Yeah, I go immediately and buy another investment. I can go buy 3 investment properties, right? Because you have to pay 20% down to get into an investment property. Well, if I have $100,000, right, I can buy 4 $400,000 properties. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's called loan hacking. And so I wanted to show you guys, it's very typical, I think, to talk about how you can take your money and how you can put it into properties and assets. That's more clear, right? But you can get creative today. You can. But the only way someone's going to take a chance on you, the only way that someone with that much cash is going to be like, yeah, I'll buy that in cash for you, and we'll arrange all this, is if you have the confidence and you're professional and you show competence. And that only is awarded to you through grinding on the doors and taking yourself as a professional, taking this serious. If you can't take this serious, you're not going to take their money serious, and they'll see that, right? They need to see that you take every aspect of your life serious before, like, yeah, I'll sign up. Here's freaking 300 grand in cash. Don't screw me. Don't mess this up, right? There's no reason why you, with how young you are, can't figure this out. There isn't. There is not. You know, I don't have the money. I just showed you path. I paid 0. So you can go do this, right? But then you start making really awesome money, and then I could draw 8 different things up here for you, right? On businesses and passive and whatever. But do you guys get what I'm trying to say? Okay. So I wanted to walk you through that because I wanted to show you, and we're going over, so I have like 10 minutes, but I wanted to move the goal posts a little bit and say, I'm actually gonna use this one. That's okay. Okay. I'm trying to truncate the other stuff I wanted to talk about because I didn't want a different direction, but ultimately, what do you want, really? If I were to sit there with you, I know you guys are doing these one-on-ones and you're, probably answering questions similar to that. What is your answer? And then a follow-up would be, who are you? If we're on a first date and I ask you, I'll go with you because your hair is beautiful, and I say, dude, tell me about yourself, right? Who are you? What are you going to say? You're probably going to describe your strengths, right? No one's going to sit there and be like, well, I struggle with this, and this is a weakness of mine. You're always going to say your strengths when asked who you are, which is cool. We're tilted towards positivity, but it also means that we are blind or not self-aware and intentional about what we lack, right? So when I say, who are you, you may not have any idea. And the vast majority of people don't. I don't even know if I fully know who I am, right? But you can have a lot more clarity around it. There's a formula. X over, we'll just say X over Y equals Z, okay? X is your past self. Y is your future self. Z would then be present self, who you are today. An easy way to answer that question, who are you, is to look at who you've been, who you want to be, and split the difference. Go right there in the middle, right? So X over Y equals Z. Does that make sense? Who are you today? You're in the middle between who you were and who you're going to be, right? And that's always true any day. So for you to understand then, you have to have clarity around each component of this formula. Meaning, I want you to, this is a challenge. Do it or don't, okay? But the challenge for you would be to sit there for 10, 15 minutes, maybe before you get out of the car today or whatever, I don't know, but lunch, whatever. Write down who you used to be. Talk about strengths, talk about a lot of your weaknesses though, right? Your struggles, characteristics, some things that you weren't proud of. Who did you used to be, okay? And then rewrite that list for your future self. Who do you want to be? Who are you determined to be? Who do you need to be? Who does your future spouse, kids, family, whatever, who do they demand that you will be one day, right? And write characteristics out. You have to have detail. Don't just think vaguely about these things. Really write it out, okay? And then look in the middle, and that's probably where you are today, okay? Why is that important? It's important because you need to understand what this is all really about. I say, what do you want? I don't want you to get caught up in all of this. People have this, and they're not happy, right? People are super rich, very successful, they use all these strategies, they leverage their money, they grind, and they're not happy, right? This creates a good platform to remove a lot of things that would make you unhappy out of your life. Starving, not being able to put food on the table, stress, unnecessary stress on your kids' lives and on your marriage, right? That all does not breed happiness, right? Being able to provide a better opportunity for your kids if they want to go on that trip or participate on that team or that sport or go to that camp, having the funds to be able to do that is important. So this lays a framework. It's important for sure, but it does not guarantee you happiness. And what is everything worth? What is all your hard work, your sweat, your blood, your tears worth if it doesn't make you happy at the end of the day? That sucks. It was worth nothing, right? You were surviving. You weren't thriving, right? And there's a huge difference. We're here to thrive, okay? This sets you up to survive, but thriving is found in fulfillment. That, to me, is ultimately success. So I'm challenging you to move the goalposts on what you consider this to be really for at the end of the day. And I want you to think about progress equals happiness. That's an eternal principle. If you're religious or not, whatever, but progress demands and leads to happiness, okay? That will never not be true. Think about some of the happiest times in your life. You were probably working really hard. Somehow that's a component. You were probably challenged a decent amount, and you were applying yourself, and you were very proud of that, right? You know what I'm talking about? You kind of reflect on this one kind of little phase. You're like, man, I was like in my stride. You know, my life wasn't easy, but I was leaning into it. And I was kind of crushing it. You know, I had potential, and I felt like I was meeting my potential. I was working hard, applying myself, and it was difficult, but yeah, you know. Can you guys think about even a phase? It can even be a week, but we've all had these glimpses of fulfillment, right? Happiness is temporary. Happiness is, let's go freaking party tonight or whatever. It can last even a week or even a month, right? Happiness can, but typically it's a flash in the pan in the grand scheme of things. Fulfillment endures, right? True, deep fulfillment endures, and that's what we're here chasing. So when you think back on one of the best times in your life where you felt the most fulfilled, those things are probably present. So then you say, well, how do I have those things here today now, right? And so you need to understand your happiness is dependent on your struggle. Because progress, it definitely requires friction. Progress is challenging. Progress is painful. Progress hurts. There is a price for progress. But it makes you happier. It makes you more fulfilled. And it makes you more successful. I promise you. So, when you look at the grand scheme of things, I will erase this for a second. I think the most valuable thing I've ever done to help motivate myself through a job that requires so much of you is I spend all my money in my head before I've earned it. So if you say this year you want to make, how much you want to make this year?
This year as much as I can. Let's go with 50K.
Okay, respectfully, you're very behind, right? I mean this, and this is said with love, but we're in June. You said as much as I can, let's go with 50. That is not clarity. There's no detail to that. That was a shot from the hip, which means it does not motivate you day in and day out. Maybe in your best of moods, it does, right? But typically, you guys are riding this parabola of emotion, highs and lows, right? So I say that as a challenge because I know it's probably in all of you, right? You need to know exactly how much you're intending to make this year, and you need to already spend every dollar of that. Like this. Let's say you want to make 100,000, okay? Don't throw it out there just because it's a bigger number than a smaller number that you thought of, and it sounds objectively respectful, right? Respectable. So say, I'm making 100,000 because what do I actually want to accomplish this year? What do you have going on? You have school, right? How much is school?
So I think school is about $2,500 a semester.
Okay. I'd make a big Excel sheet if I were you and detail exactly everything. Okay? Well, let's run with some generic numbers for now. 2,500, that's school. What other expenses do you have?
Apartment, which is
'Kay.
probably another $700 a month.
Okay? 700?
Food,
Food?
car, gas.
Food, what? Let's just say like 300 a month? 400 a week?
400 a month, yeah.
'Kay.
That works.
Okay, that's food. Gas, $1 million right now?
Seems like it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I don't know, what, like 300 a month?
Probably about that, yeah.
Let's say 350? Okay.
Maybe a little bit more.
Okay, fund budget.
Fund budget. Probably another 100 a month, 200 a month.
100 a month? Bro, come on.
All I'm doing is working right now. I don't really have a lot of fun. I have fun working. That's where I have fun.
Yeah, but you won't always. That's not sustainable.
That's fair.
You need to, look, I understand grinding and suck the marrow out of the bone of this opportunity. Trust me, I understand. We have sacrificed and done that, okay? But I'm saying, for this to be sustainable, you need to build a sustainable schedule and expectation of yourself. Just face that already. Face it. Because if right now, for instance, here's symptoms that you're not motivated. If you have to be reminded of when this meeting is, what the hell? You're a child, right? If you really have to have someone bug you day in and day out to go knock a certain amount of doors or make sales and like provide a good life for yourself, you should probably move on. Dan doesn't have time for that, right? This is an opportunity for go-getters. The opportunity is out there. You don't need to be a world-class salesman. You just need to be an above-average worker. If you can do that, this opportunity will unfold for you, right? But if you do not have the drive, the ambition, and the structure day in and day out to just put some good work ethic together, you're going to struggle. So just meet yourself where you are. Start where you can't fail. Consistency over intensity. Don't beat yourself up, guys. Everyone struggles with this. This job has a lot of freedom, which means it has a lot of temptation. And it's really easy to give into that and to underperform and not be proud of your work in a day. We've felt that. We understand, okay? We're not immune to it. But when you are able to then have a strategy and a structure and say, look, I know technically I'm supposed to be working X amount of hours right now, every day. But if you were to clock me, I'm not doing it. So that structure you need to think about and say, what is a commitment that I will honor where my word means something to myself? So I'm going to meet myself where I am. I'm going to strive for consistency over intensity, and I'm going to start where I can't fail. If I were to tell you, hey, you need to go get told no 20 times today. That's all I'm going to ask from you. Could you do that?
Could get told no 20 times.
Yeah.
I can do that.
You probably could. This is a totally different way to look at this, right? And I understand. So be careful with what I'm saying. We're not chasing no's. But if I had said, look, at the end of the day, that's what needs to happen. Do you know your closing ratio?
I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I think it's like 1 in 10, about 10%.
Okay. So if you're getting told no 20 times, how many sales are you making?
20 times, like 2 sales.
2 sales. How many sales do you average right now?
Probably about 1.
Okay. Do you get told no 20 times in a day, on average?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say probably about 20 times is average.
Then your closing ratio is not 1 out of 10. My point with saying this is one of those things aren't going to add up.
Okay.
Either your closing ratio is off, or you are not meeting the required number, the threshold to make your closing ratio true. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not getting told no 20 times in a day, then you're not working hard enough. If your goal is to do 2 a day, if your goal is to do 1 a day, I mean, I'm just saying start where you cannot fail. And if you need to get told no 10 times a day, then go do that. I know does that take a lot of pressure off though? Because for me it did. Guys, I've had to hack my mind in every single way to get me to stay working hard, right? Every temptation you've had, every challenge, like, feeling down, not motivated. I felt that 10 times over all these years. And I've had to keep getting creative and finding out how to hack into my mind so that my mind does not let me down, right? You have to game your mind, or your mind will game you day in and day out. Who's in the driver's seat, right? So if you know you struggle with certain things, game it, okay? And one of those ways is to say, I don't need to go talk to X amount of people, work X amount of hours. I don't need to make X amount of sales. I need to go get told no 20 times today. Is that a lot more approachable? Do you feel a little less pressure? You're gonna hack your mind again and again and again over time. That's just one, okay? I figure that helps quite a bit. My point with all this is you're gonna add up all this amount. Let's say that it's 50K over a year. Okay, well, you have 50K left over. Where's that going?
It's going to my savings.
How much?
And that's probably about half of that, so like 25K, yeah.
Okay.
So that sounds about
Savings.
right.
So you have 25,000 more to spend. Where does that go?
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, that would probably go towards, I guess, like, having fun, like getting things that I want to buy, things like clothes, stuff like that. And then it would also go towards, I guess, I don't know. I save a lot of money, so it would honestly probably just go towards saving. I don't really spend a ton of money, so I'd probably just put it back into.
Well, inflation is dunking on you right now.
Yeah, savings.
You are getting posterized by inflation with that mindset. We all are. So having a nest egg in savings is important. I totally understand that. But that becomes less valuable every single day right now, and over time, generally anyways. If you want to leverage your money and start to build wealth, that's an assets, that's an investments. So you should spend as much of your money as possible within a limit, right? Having 25K for savings as a really young guy with really no responsibilities and a spouse and kids, that is plenty. That is plenty. The average American right now has like $3,000 in their bank account. I'm not saying have 3. I'm not saying meet them there. I'm just saying 25 is more than enough. So after that, dude, you're not saving anymore. You're losing if you try to save, right? And so with that other 25, you need to know where it's already going. I'm putting X amount into a Roth IRA, right? I'm putting X amount into stocks. I'm putting X amount into a business venture. You got to break all this down. You can't just say, oh, kind of this. I'd find a way within 25,000 to disperse that.
Is a Roth IRA kind of like a CI account, compound interest account?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a fund account where people are investing your money into stocks for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, okay, do you get the point? So I'm saying you need clarity. Why are you going to be if I know that if I add all this up and I've spent all of my money, it all has a place it goes, and I know then that I can reverse engineer and say, if I'm going to make X amount of money, so all of this happens this year, and I crush my goals and ambitions for this year, and I surge forward, right? I have to make that amount. That's where all the money's going. How do I make that amount? I have to sell at least X amount every day. If I know my closing ratio, I have to talk to X amount of people every day, right? And then I know how many doors on average it takes for someone to answer. And then I know how many doors I knock in an hour. So now I know how many hours I need to knock. The numbers over time will not lie if you continue to be consistent with them. You can betray the numbers, but they'll never betray you, right? So if you know all these numbers, you take all the pressure off. You take the gray area, the fog, the stuff that bogs you down and makes you feel not motivated in a day goes away. The clouds part. You have clarity. So you know I need to work at least X amount of hours today, right? Every single day, that's what I have to do. If I do that, I will hit my goal based on my closing ratio, yada, yada, right? So you back yourself into your goals. And then on a day where you're like, you know what? I need to work 8 hours, 7, 6, whatever hours today it is. But I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. That's okay. You just need to go ahead and get rid of something that you know you're going to spend money on. If you have that money attached to something already, then it will mean something to you, and you won't want to let go of it. But if it's just vague money out there, well, eventually you're going to feel content. And you're like, I don't need to get after it today. Like, I'm actually all right. I've made really solid money. I can coast for a day, a week, or half this month. It's fine. Because you don't feel any consequence. So attach consequence to every dollar that you hope to make. And then you're driven in a day. And now suddenly it's like, dude, I'm not out here just trying to make 2 sales today. How boring does that sound? I'm out here trying to make 2 sales because ultimately I know that that's going to be my Spain trip for 2 weeks come this August or October, whatever, I don't know, right? Or I make 3 sales every day because that's my rental property that I'm going to start my wealth with, right? Does that make sense? Is that a lot more exciting to go around and get beat down by the heat, get told no a bunch in the day? Because it all has a purpose. You've imbued every door, you've consecrated every action with a purpose. So it's way more meaningful, way more motivating, and you've diversified all the things that you're getting from it. It's not like putting all your eggs in one basket. I'm going to go work like a dog for months to be able to go to Spain for 2 weeks. That's not enough. It's not enough. You need to diversify. Some days that will be enough. You're like, hell yeah, I'm pumped up for that. Other days you're like, no, I'm pumped for my property I'm going to get because of this. Right? Okay. Any questions about any of this? I get really fired up. I get really passionate about it. I love anyone in door to door because I know the grind. I know what you sacrifice. I know that you guys are gritty. You're gritty. And I believe in this opportunity. You don't need to be an all-star, but you need to be committed and consistent. And you need to have vision and clarity. If you do that, this opportunity will provide for you tenfold what it is today. But do yourself a favor, get out of your own way and find the clarity in all this. Spend time, do the numbers. Maybe this is stuff you can follow up with next week.
Yeah, so I just sent the link to the advanced training program, which I don't know if maybe you've been in, and I have Excel sheets that will take you through this, your needs, wants, and goals Excel sheet on there. It has the 7 questions why are you doing this and everything. So that was amazing. I love that. Next step in it is register for the advanced training course and complete the advanced training course, and you'll be well on the path to accomplishing these things.
I love it. This job has completely changed my life. My first year, I had everyone telling me not to do it. Like, you're going to go sell bug spray door to door and move to Houston to do that? You're getting taken advantage of. That's a scam. That's a weird situation. That sounds so far below what I would ever do. I tried to get a lot of my buddies to come out with me my first year. I had some come, but I had plenty who were like, they thought they were way too good for it, right? My own family told me not to go. Fast forward to 3 years ago, my dad retired from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago and came out and sold with me on my team in Orange County. And on that team I had my dad, my little brother, his wife, my little sister, her husband, all working for me on the same team. Yeah. Today, I make more money than every single person in my family and their spouses combined times 3. That's not a flex. It's me telling you I'm able to provide for my family. And when I say family, I don't mean my wife and kids. I'm the one that swoops in and helps everybody with whatever they need. And it's because I went and I sold bug spray door to door, and I got shit on for a summer doing it. But I had clarity and I saw the vision. This can change your life if you let it. I'm here in Fort Worth. I'm not far. It's like a 40-minute drive for me, so maybe I'll see you guys other times or something like that. But I'm rooting for you. Have a good summer. Stay in the fight. Sound good?
Nice.
There it is. Thank you, guys.
Good stuff, good stuff. I love it.